Verse 297. To imagine individual forms is wrong. It puts one in bondage. They are born of mind due to the false imagination of the ignorant. Based on the relativity, they are discriminated. I touched on this verse a couple of videos ago in the light of Buddhist causation. And our situation is that our attention is being hijacked all the time. It's being diverted into particular forms. And a form here can be understood as a sensory perception. It could be a sound, a smell, a touch, a taste, or even a feeling of pain, of pleasure, and so on. And this is what keeps us in bondage. We're like rats in a wheel, spinning around, slightly worn out, but on we go, keep repeating the same old habits. And you might think, okay, that's fair enough, that's how it is. We need to stop doing it. We need to get rid of desire, the desire that's always pushing the attention out, looking for something to satisfy it. Yeah, we should. And how do we do that? There's no point just giving it a slap in the hand and saying we mustn't do that. The point is to realise the true nature of what we're desiring and how it leaves us worse off. So we're told that these individual forms that attract our attention are born of mind due to the false imagination of the ignorant. And the ignorant is us when we're on automatic and we imagine that we know how things are. Now it says born of mind with a capital M. I would really say it's born of mind with a small m, because the false imagination is part of the mind, the small m. But then again, everything arises from mind with a capital M. This is how we can get back to it. Mind here is really the power of consciousness. Consciousness takes as real everything that it experiences, at least initially. And this is Maya, delusion. And the effect is always to take us from here to there. Our centre of being is diffused outwards. And these teachings are very much about getting back to this centre of being, to bring the attention back to itself. So the false imagination is about believing that there's something out there. And based on the relativity, these particular forms are discriminated. And the classic example I like to use is that of not having a head. If you do a search for headlessness on YouTube, you'll find some videos which will point this out further. It's very much based on the teachings of Douglas Harding. So this relativity aspect, it's about assuming that what is out there is the same as what is here. As I said, the classic example is about having a head, because I don't experience a head here. This seems ridiculous. You'll be saying, I can see your head, there it is, it's here. But that's from your point of view. From this point of view here, what I'm experiencing is everything. I'm experiencing the whole universe. Wherever I turn, I'm experiencing its variety, part of its infinite variety. Everything is possible from here. on top of these shoulders. Now you'll be resisting this. Unless you're familiar with it and have realised it for yourself, you'll be resisting this and thinking, there must be more to it than that. But from this point of view here, where there's no head, everything makes sense. These teachings make sense. So this relativity aspect is what you're probably applying right now if you've got a problem with this. Because you'll be saying, but everybody's got a head. So I must have one here. You're relating to out there and taking what is out there as what is happening here. And it's not so. It is absolutely not so. But this is what we do all the time. We put ourselves out there and assume we're part of out there. We are not. We are the centre of everything. The absolute centre. And by that I'm not talking about me as a personality or me as a soul of some sort. I'm talking about the me that is aware. Awareness is not an idea. Awareness is what is real. Can you come back to this awareness? This awareness which embraces the whole world. We're no longer interested in the individual forms. They're all part of the landscape. When we appreciate a landscape, a vast panorama, we're not focusing on the individual forms anymore. And this is what we're doing. We're stepping back, stepping back, stepping back, stepping back to that point where there is nothing. And from that point, we experience everything. Now if this is a bit obscure, or even if you think you see it, but thinking, so what? I invite you to explore it further. Have a look at some videos on headlessness, or on Douglas Harding, or Richard Lang. He's a protege of Douglas Harding's. He's very active in promoting headless seeing. So this is relativity. It's relating to ourselves in terms of out there, in terms of what we've been told, in terms of what we've been educated to believe, rather than what we know is the case. And the case is that I, as pure awareness, am the centre of everything. And this is pointed out again in the next verse. Verse 298. The existence thus subjected to discrimination is no other than its relativity aspect. The false imagination is of various forms. Based on the relativity, discrimination is carried on. So we're continually discriminating. We're continually focusing on details rather than the big picture, rather than the grand vista. And that vista, that panorama, is the panorama of samsara. And by focusing on it, we're stepping back from it. And we're not focusing on the details. Bring the attention back. Observe how it wants to go out onto objects, physical objects, people, entities, also mental objects, because this is also out there. What's going on in here is also out there. Mental and physical objects. They're equally out there. So we don't direct our attention to mental objects either, because that's actually what we do most of the time, even though we think we're being practical and dealing with the physical world. Most of the time we're actually operating in accordance with our beliefs about the world, beliefs that are fueled by our own psychology, by our moods. So actually these are the real problem. Our mental objects, our understanding, that's what we actually focus our attention on most of the time. That's our first step, and then it goes outside. And what we see outside we use to reinforce what's inside. But both inside and outside are both out there. Come back to awareness. Come back to the big picture. Have a rest from this discrimination of always looking out there. Just come and rest. Give the discrimination a rest. Stop arguing with it. Stop arguing about it. Just come back to your own awareness. There's no need to argue about it. Stop putting it down. It's incredible. It's beautiful. It's blissful. If you can get beyond your fundamental mood tones. So let's give it a rest. Let's give it a rest.